Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are so honored to have Barb Toscano joining us here today. She's a holistic consultant at Psychological Energy Therapy and Bodywork, based out of Jacksonville, Florida, but she can work with you anywhere around the world. And she has a lot of titles. Yeah, she does a lot. Let me ask you to introduce yourself and tell us about all these titles you have. Wow.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks so much, Jill. I'm Barb Toscano, and I don't like being bored. So
Yeah.
any free chance I get, I take another certification or a learning curve. I figure with psychological energy therapy and the kind of the way that it came about was just learning more and more. And I find that the more I learn, the more I realize I don't learn, I don't know. So it's kind of that continual structure. So I have my undergrad is in science, my master's is in education. I'm a licensed massage therapist, Reiki master, master herbalist, LMT practitioner, do quantum time. Like what do you want? What do you want to know?
Oh
you know,
my goodness. Yeah, the
and
woman that does it all. I knew you had too many titles to mention. I'm like, wow, she wears many hats. But excited to have you here because clearly you love helping people and doing all these different modalities. And hold on, let me establish the website. It's psychologicalenergytherapy.com, right? And do you
that's correct.
have a phone number, a social media page you want to share as well?
Sure. Our phone number is 904-646-7545. It's also available on Google. Just Google us. We have a Facebook page. We have a private Facebook page. We have a TikTok, the Orberus Effect. It's on and on. And from our website, you can go to our link tree and experience all of the things that we have to offer.
Beautiful. Well, before we dive into all these services that you can help people with, I want to find out more about you. I know you're a
Sure.
mom. Tell us a little bit about you, your life, and also your other career, because yeah, you have a big story. Tell us, give it to us in layman's terms. Go for it.
All right. So, yes, I am a mother. I am married. My husband and I have been married 17 years. It has been one of those rocky marriages where you find yourself from the absolute magic that it is, right? And I have a son. His name is Sebastian. He is 15. He
Mhm.
is wonderful. And I mean, and that's kind of it. I was a high school teacher. I started teaching in 2004. I taught high school English and reading and started writing reading curriculum. So that's where the master's came in. And I left in 2018, 2019, that school year, and just stepped away to do this full time, to do psychological energy therapy full time.
Amazing. Well, as a young girl, what did you want to be when you grew up? I mean, could you share a little bit about your childhood with us too?
I did, and it's actually a perfect question because I wanted to be a dermatologist, but I was told because I was raised in a very Southern family with very Southern values that as a girl I was allowed to be a teacher or a nurse, that medical school I could not outshine my husband. And so that's kind of where it began because I was surrounded by really, really strong, powerful grandmothers,
Yeah.
but it seemed to the messages of society seemed to be different for me. And so that's why I created the Orberus Effect, which is an awakening community for women. And it really gets into those messages that we're taught. We're taught to be
Yeah.
quiet, we're taught to be small, we're told all of these messages that don't align with who we
Ah,
truly are. And so, shrugging off that weight was one of the really biggest
yeah.
moments in my life where it was like, it is okay to be too loud, too emotional, too all of the things that were just me. And it became this search and this journey going
God
down into
bless.
Plato's cave, if you will, to go and retrieve myself and to show other women how to do that, that you can be whole, you can be all of the things that you want and more by choosing you.
Beautiful. I love it. Well, thank you. See, I'm so glad I asked. I want to find out more about you. This is great. And here you are now. You left teaching to pursue psychological energy therapy to start. I mean, hold on. We got to ask. I mean, because there's a lot that you offer from the in-person, virtual, the psychological energy, chat work, energy work, the Reiki. But first and foremost, can I start off by asking you what actually is psychological energy therapy? Some people might be wondering.
Sure, that's great. Psychological energy therapy, and some people are like, oh, so it's like psychotherapy. No, it's not. It is not. Psychotherapy is wonderful, it is powerful, and it has a place. Psychological energy therapy is different, as it's
Okay.
based in the spirit, it's based in the emotions, it's based in the energy of what we refuse to process, right? And it came out of
Yeah.
Freud's work, like way back in the 1930s, where Freud really started looking at what happens when we have emotions that we reject and we don't process. Part of the emotion pulls through, right? Like we've all seen a toddler in the grocery store wanting the cookies, and they throw themselves to the ground and they feel the rage. They stand up and they walk away. Well, as a 44-year-old woman, when they're out of my cookies, throwing myself to the floor is not an option anymore.
Yeah.
But I still have those emotions. And so if I don't process through those emotions, they start getting stuck in the tissues. When they start, when they start really backing up, if you will, we start having pains, illnesses. And Freud called this body armor. Now, Wilhelm Reich moved into how to treat that with energy, how to really look at that. And then Tesla's ideas of electrical current and how we can move energy through space and time and through the body really is where the technique started to come through. And then Bessel van der Kolk did amazing work in how the body reacts and manifests to these kinds of stuck emotions and it becomes chronic illness and chronic pain. And doctors tell us, you're just going to have to live with this. But we don't. We don't. And that was so freeing for me.
Oh
So
my
that's kind of how
goodness.
it started.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And do you want to kind of break it down, the sessions, the products? I know we're going to talk about the online women community, but still, there's so much more to what you offer. We're going to get to your retreat, the Reiki, and the medical massage. So could you share a little bit about this?
Sure. So, the way that I have set this up, and I have courses on clinical Reiki levels 1 and 2. They are available through the Board of Massage if you are looking for CEUs and if that's your jam. It's not something I talk about a whole lot just because it's kind of there waiting. But
Yeah.
what I did was going through massage therapy school, I went through a clinical program that did neuromuscular and really in-depth clinical process. And I found that as I would do these different processes, if I would press energy in different ways, I started to get emotional releases in people in different ways. It was like, I have a girlfriend that was a great sport and she was my willing guinea pig in a lot of ways. But I learned a lot about how emotions hold and what manifestations come out of different emotions as they hold. So the psychological energy therapy is about locating that emotion through repeated patterns, through life cycle, or whatever it is, and then using energy to release the belief, the stagnation, the
Mm-hmm.
pain, the rejection. We don't have to process it and call it disassociation. Like we don't have to label it, we feel it. So we bring it from our mind down into our body, because in my body, I have autonomy and I can face it with accountability, love, compassion, and grace, and let it go instead of believing the same messages and getting into that spiral. As every overthinker knows, that is hell. And when I can escape that and move down into my heart and just accept this is who I am, you know what?
Yeah.
Warts and all, perfectly imperfect. This is who I am. Then I can look at my life and say, and is this a pattern I choose to repeat? And that's why the Oberst effect has the snake that eats its tail and then the head turns. She chooses to change, not because she has to, but because she wants to. And that is
Yeah.
freedom to me.
Ooh, I like where this is going. Thank you so much. Barb Toscano joining us here, by the way. If you are just tuning in, want to remind you, psychologicalenergytherapy.com is her website. And also, if you want to reach out to her, feel free to go to the website. You can see all she has to offer. And we're learning more about this psychological energy therapy today, all the different ways she can help you with energy healing as well and massage. Let's continue. What else did you want to make sure we cover for today? Wow. Because I
Well,
have questions about Reiki too and what it's used for and the benefits. And yeah, some people may not know that too.
right. Well, Reiki is a really, really ancient art of energy healing. And I mean, you can go back through history. There are historical documents that show us that the character of Christ when he was in Alexandria was learning energy healing in the cataclysms
Yeah.
in that school that they had in Alexandria. So it's an ancient art, and it comes through. It was reawakened kind of in Japanese culture, and it is very, very popular today. It is just basically love. To really describe the most basics of Reiki healing is what we access in prayer, in mantra, in that bliss of yoga, the runner's high, right? And how to encapsulate that and to push that into a stream. And scientifically, it can be charted and measured as infrared energy. So it is very, very healing to the body. Clinical Reiki takes it up a notch. It brings in different techniques, different symbols, different energy powers. We can get up to almost 1,000 times the strength of classical Reiki with clinical Reiki in some of the ways using Tesla's designs and Tesla's concepts on energy transfer, looking at how we are pushing more and more energy through the currents in the body to help release things that no longer serve us. It's almost like a dog shaking off water, right? And we can access these parts of ourselves completely without shame and guilt, complete acceptance.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And it's funny, I learned about Reiki. My mom was going through lung cancer, but it was a little too late. Unfortunately, she passed. But when the hospital, the website in New York City said Reiki energy, I'm like, what is this? And I know I come to learn it helps with pain. It can help with chronic pain for those suffering, whether it's a cancer related or any migraines or any fascia related diseases. But that's where I learned about it. And then I had girlfriends and use it for pain. And I'm like, what, for healing and coping with their pain. And I'm like, this is awesome. Awesome, awesome. So again, just one of the other modalities that you use and you can help people with. What else, Barb? My goodness.
Yeah, I kind of see it like a tree, and these are all the branches that come
Hmm.
out of the tree. So we have the Reconnect retreats. Reconnect retreats is a massive thing, and I have a business partner, and her name is Maggie Sullivan, and she is a certified health coach, and she is fantastic. She has helped me guide through healing I was on 9 different medications. I was diagnosed with an immune deficiency disorder at 13, and my doctor's just like, well, if you see 40, it'll be a miracle. I sit today in front of you, 44 years old, on 0 medications, right? And so this process moving through, and so we've encapsulated that process that she and I have gone through into Reconnect retreats. It is about meditation. It is about yoga. It is structuring emotional activities to where we sit down, look at ourselves, look at our emotions with love and gentleness. We surf, we paddleboard, we hike, we eat good food. There's all these vegetarian options, these fresh produce options. We drink lots of fresh water, lots of fresh sun, and we heal. And so that is what Reconnect retreats is to shed the old, is to reconnect with the true. Remember that joy you had as a child, is to go back and find her again or him again. And that is the retreat. It is massive. It is June 27th through July 1st this year. It is our first one for this year. We're going to have another one in fall, and we're going to have another one early winter. This one is in Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh my goodness, this is exciting stuff. Yeah, I was reading about all these retreats coming up, and hold on, I lost my notes here. Hold on. So wait, this is the June 27th to July 1st, right? And
Yes.
how does it work? People can sign up online. You said it's 5 days. Is there like, do you have a connection with a hotel? Is there, like, how does this all work with the retreat?
Yeah. So you basically all you have to do is book your flight. That's pretty
Oh my
much it.
gosh.
We pick you up at the airport. It's a van, and we have our party bus. They picks you up and brings you to, and there are little condos that are scattered around Jacksonville Beach, and is armed with a bicycle, because in Jacksonville Beach we're very much a biking culture. So everyone is armed with a bicycle, and we have morning meditation, morning yoga, morning breakfast, and we all meet together. And then we have our day of events. We ride our bikes to dinner out sometimes. Sometimes we have chefs come in from the local restaurants, and then we sit around the fire pit, and we get in the hot tubs, and we do cold plunges, and we do infrared saunas, and we do chanting. And there's just this return to authenticity, this peeling away of what society says we should be, and a reconnection of what we could be.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for that. And then, you are empowering, I mean, especially, women. And I know there's this whole community that you have set up. If you want to talk about, what is it, the Ouroboros effect? What is that?
Yes, the Ouroboros effect.
Oh,
So the
thank you. I'm
Ouroboros
sorry.
Yeah, no worries. The Orborus is a very ancient symbol. It is just the snake that eats its tail. And it basically is our unenlightened state, right? It is the us when we're living in the just the physical world, when we have no connection with our mentality and our spirituality, where we just continue, we wash, rinse, repeat. We get up, we eat breakfast, we sit in traffic, we go to work, we come home, we do homework, we go to bed, right? It's just the eating of the tail, the everyday, every day. And then one day you recognize this is not enough. And you look, and in that look becomes you become willing for more. You become hungry for more. It's like that old, cartoon, and I'm hungry for more, right? And it's that awakening that happens when that drive starts pulling. And that becomes the Orborus. And the online community, the Orborus effect, it is about magic and psychology. Not only high magic, like looking at these mystical structures of, the crystal body, of our chakras, of astrology and tarot, but also the beauty that we are, just the sentient soul being that we are, and that everything is actually perfect inside, and that the spark of who we are is completely accessible at any moment and any day, and that you are whole and that you are good and that this is just your natural state. And so to peel off, just like as a snake sheds its skin, through this community of women and learning and growing, we grow, we pop open our old skin, and we slither out into a whole new being and a whole new acceptance of who we are.
Aw, beautiful. Okay, remind us how we can contact you. Hold on. Let's do that. The website, phone number, any form of contact. Again, people
Right?
tuning in, so we've got to make sure they know who we're talking to.
Great. Yes, it's psychologicalenergytherapy.com. The phone number is 904-646-7545, or my email is barb.toscano@hotmail.com. So there are lots of ways. Facebook, just Barb Toscano, type in clinical Reiki, you will find me. TikTok, the Orborus Effect, it is there too. We have all different kinds of things going on. It's very exciting. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you so much. All right, we still have 10 more minutes left in the show, and I know I have plenty of notes still for you. So I just want to make sure we're diving into everything that's important to you. Where did you want to go next?
I don't know. It depends on where you want to
Well,
go.
I read that about the new course, Psychology of Tarot. Then there's the private Facebook book group. So I just want to make sure we're getting everything in for today that you think is important.
Right. So the new course we just launched, and we are working on a new one, but the new course we just launched is the Psychology of Tarot. It takes Jungian archetypes, it looks at Joseph Campbell's work in mythology, and it brings together the hero's journey and the fool's journey and the Jungian archetypes, and how the tarot cards explain the process that we go through, both when we're still in the Orborus, when we're still eating our tail in the physical world, but also when we finally make that decision to look up, to ask for more, we call out to the universe, hello, and the energy of the universe says hello back. That moment of conscious connecting with who I am. And that is the energy of all that we're doing, is that empowerment, that awakening, that enlivening, that beauty that you already are, how to polish that. And then remember, just remember.
I know, right? I see as a mom now, with the 7 and 9 year olds, like I always feel there's not enough calm in my life. There's not enough, and I want to get there. I want to get back there, and talking to people like yourself about how it's possible, and makes me feel like there's hope out there, and it's not too far away, right?
Right. Well, that is my business. My business is hope, that there
Yeah,
is everything is possible. The hope is there. And once you have hope, like you can never go back. And that is so powerful for people.
it really is. I mean, just curious, have you had any obstacles in your life that you want to share that you had to overcome, and how you got through them and who helped you through it?
Wow, yes, I have had many experiences. So I was diagnosed with an immune deficiency disorder at 13 and told I wouldn't see 40. So I took that pretty much as permission to do whatever the heck I wanted. And I did. And I followed that. Let's just call a duck a duck. I called that narcissistic drive, right? I followed it all the way into addiction. I followed it all the way into alcoholism. And I mean, I hit rock bottom and I had to lay on my front porch, losing everything. My world was on fire. My life was on fire. I hated to look in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And so I laid on my front porch with a gun in my mouth and I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm done. Hands up. I'm done. I'm absolutely done. And I don't know what God is. I am a very strong agnostic. I don't know and I don't need to know. And that's fine. And in that moment of surrender, I said, whatever it is, even if it's a flying spaghetti monster, I do not care, but you're going to have to take the wheel. And if you will show me how to heal, I will devote to you every moment of my life from here on out, showing others how to do it.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you for that. And also, I was reading in your notes about mentoring, and did you want to share? You're currently mentoring, right? And you had people in the past. Was it some teachers that helped you along?
Oh, yeah, I did. I had some teachers that really believed in me and really pushed me in ways that, in retrospect, I'm very grateful for. And then other teachers, in the moment, they offered me healing and hope when I didn't have it. And my sponsor was one of those people. She offered me she shook me like she shook the tree and she was just like, are you ever going to become accountable? Because I was a victim, right? I was everyone's victim. I was a victim of my disease. I was a victim of my mother. I was a victim of my father. Like, I just wanted to blame everyone. And she finally said, when are you going to be accountable? And she said this to me and it changed my life. And she said to me, the only thing that has been consistent from the moment you took your first breath to the breath you took right now is you. That's the only consistent thing in every moment of your life is you. When are you going to take accountability? When are you going to take the reins? And I just stood there and cried because I was not courageous enough to do that.
Oh,
It forced me to change. And I did.
thank you for sharing. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we in our last 5 minutes here today, what other things do you want people to know about you and the work? And it's, by the way, you're working with others too. It's not just you specifically, right?
Yes. Yes.
So you
I
have
have
a
a great
team
right. I have a
staff.
great partner. Yeah, and I have a great assistant. And I mean, it is there are four of us and we are taking on the world.
And then I also think I read that you were into crystal. You were a crystal therapist, or you do crystal therapy. What's that?
Right, just using the different energies of rocks. Like when you understand consciousness, each thing vibrates at a different level, right? We all vibrate at different, just like music. Every note has a different sound. Every note has a different feeling. And
Hmm.
so crystals are the same way. They kind of go into holding resonant energy. And I'll show you
Sure.
just any kind of like coil or crystal or energetic purposes, right? Like these are Tesla's designs. And
Yes.
using his concepts just to use the body as more of a conduit, it increases circulation, it increases emotional health, it increases our ability to release and to relax. And doctors keep sending me people that they say, this is what you're going to have to live with. And I say, no, madam, you do not.
Ah, beautiful. Well, I also do you love how the fact that I think Western and Eastern medicine has come together in a sense where I feel like they're both kind of recognizing there's benefits to both. Back in the day, it was like, this is all woo-woo, like what is this holistic, healing and Reiki energy? But now I feel like it's so nice when a doctor says, hey, you should try Reiki.
And
Right?
and you should, and that's kind of the biggest block that I've been experiencing, as a person who's moving into energy psychology because it's a very, very new field, and there's not a lot of education about it, and that does get really frustrating when we have this masculinely focused Western mentality of you need this pill and you need to do this. And it's like, well, why aren't we feeling? Why
Yeah.
aren't we stepping into the authenticity of who we are and the possibility that maybe there are other ways. And there a week doesn't go by that I don't have somebody in my office that they're saying, I went to 3 doctors, I went to 5 doctors, I went to 7 doctors, and they told me that it's not possible, that I have to learn to live like this.
Ah,
And it's just not true. There
beautiful.
is help, there is hope.
Well, I love that. All you have to share your positive energy with us. And if someone out there is needing help, may not even know what modality, could you just share? They reach out to you, you have a conversation with them, and you can kind of uncover what they may need.
Yes, totally. Totally. They can even find something that they like. And then if we get into it and, say they're in psychological energy therapy, and I'm like, let's shift. let's change gears.
Yeah.
Let's go into a guided meditation. Let's find that energy. Let's do this. So you don't have to know. You don't have to know. We're going to discover
Perfect.
together
All
because this
right.
is not me telling you. This is us exploring.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being here, for joining us today. Would you mind sharing how we can reach out to you? Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. It's barb.toscano@hotmail.com. Shoot me over an email. You can text me or call me at 904-646-7545 or psychologicalenergy.com. And then Facebook, Barb Toscano, type in clinical Reiki, and there we go.
All right. Thank you so much, Barb. Pleasure having you here and looking forward to
Thank
the next
you.
time we connect. Thank you. And to all of
Yes,
our
Jill.
listeners, please stay tuned. More of the show's coming right up. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcasts on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.